You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the earliest things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you and doesn't judge you quite as harshly as the rest of your family because, you know, we want you to grow. We want you to learn. You're doing the better things here. You're making yourself better. So it's probably easier to hang out with us because you know everything from listening to the Chris Voss Show for 16 years and 2,400 episodes. In the meantime, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today's featured author comes to us from bookstolifemarketing.co.uk. With expert publishing to strategic marketing, they help authors reach their audience and maximize their book success. Today we're talking with Curtis Hoffman. He's the musical dream tarot gentleman. I'm going to have you give us your bio here. Tell us about yourself.
All right. I have some music in my family background. My maternal grandfather was a violin maker, and I've always had a strong impetus towards music. I had a full-time career as an archaeologist, working mostly here in the northeastern part of North America at Bridgewater State University, which is my home institution, for 40 years full-time, and I still teach there part-time. But my courses of late have gravitated more towards what I like to call cognitive anthropology, that is, the study of the way in which people think and classify their environment. And so I teach a myth and culture course, a culture and consciousness course, things of that sort. Back in 2010, because I do a lot of work with dreams, I had what C.G. Jung would call a big dream, in which I was introduced to two women who were leading a choral group, singing a text which I recognized as coming from Jung's own dream journal, which is called The Red Book. It had recently been published. He had it suppressed for 50 years after his death by his request. And this concerned the Babylonian hero Gilgamesh, whom your readers have probably heard of. And he encountered this figure, and when he had dealt with him, he and a group of villagers performed a series of incantations to that figure to get him to reemerge from an egg. And the text of the incantations are what the chorus in my dream were singing, and I understood that I was being asked to write music for that. I said, I can't do that. And the dream said, we'll show you. And they did. And so that was a composition that took me about 1.5 years. It's in 8 movements, and it's complete. And, that was all for, a cappella chorus. And I said, well, that's an interesting project that I had. And then it sort of went away for a while. Now, I am a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams, which I wish to plug, amzn.to. And I present at their annual conferences every year. And at the 2021 conference, which was held entirely online due to COVID, I attended an online workshop given by a very dear friend of mine, Lauren Schneider, who is very conversant in the tarot, as I am also. She uses it for actual therapy.
Oh, wow.
Therapy. And what she asked us to do was to choose 2 cards from any deck that we might have and asked an important question of them. And at that point, I just completed my last major archaeological report. And so the question I asked is, what is my next project? This is a really good example of the principle, be careful what you ask for. Because what came to me, and in some email dialogue with her, was that my next project was to write music for the tarot. And the first dream came that very night. And 777 dreams later, 19 months later, I have music for all 78 of the tarot cards, scored for small groups of instruments, and depicting the imagery, the archetypal imagery that is found on the cards. And all of this is coming out of dreams.
Wow. You were able to remember your dreams better than I am. I sometimes have weird dreams and I come out of them and I'm like, holy crap, that was weird. And then I've forgotten about it in about 5 seconds.
Well, the best advice that I can give to you and your listeners and viewers is have something by your bedside to write them down. Because if you do that, you're giving your unconscious the suggestion you wish to remember dreams, and the unconscious will respond.
That
Not
unconscious.
necessarily right away, but eventually.
Yeah. Now, do we get all the plugs in for you, all the .coms that we want people to go to for you?
So certainly this is a conference that I am hosting at my university this September 26th and 27th on culture, creativity, and cosmos, at which I will be speaking about the musical dream tarot, among other things. And we encourage everyone to come to this conference. The registration information is found on the International Association for the Study of Dreams website, asdreams.org/regionals. And you will get there and you will see the banner image, which those of you who are watching can see on the screen, and it will lead you to full information about how to register for this conference.
Dreaming, culture, creativity, and the cosmos at Bridgewater State University, September 26th through the 27th, 2025. And people can check out that website. Now, do they need to go to the website that's on the screen here, asdreams.org/regionals?
Yeah, that's the best way in.
Okay. That's the best way.
Easiest way in.
And there'll be a link for that on the Chris Voss Show. You can see on the show.
Okay, should I go on? Or
yes, please. Other plugs, whatever .coms we want to plug.
If you would like to listen to the music, all of it is available on my website, which is www.musicaldreamtarot, all one word, .com. So that is how you can get all of the music. What you will see there are artistic images which were drawn by another friend of mine, Carmen Sorrenti, from her dreams of the tarot cards. And she has given me full permission to make use of these images on the website. It's very gracious of her to do that. So each of the images has a link to the music. And the musical selections are not lengthy. Most of them are under 5 minutes long. But the entire spread, if you want to listen to all of it, is almost 5 hours worth of music. Yeah. So there's a lot there. What I sometimes do when I present on this at gatherings is I bring a tarot deck and I invite people to draw a card, and then I'll play the music for it. Yeah, that's one of the things I've done in the past.
Now, why is it important to have music to go with the tarot cards? What does that do?
It stimulates the imagination. And while I'm not claiming that this is the only possible music that can go with the tarot cards, someone once asked me, a person of African descent, what it would be like if my musical palette had been more towards, let's say, hip hop, what the music would sound like in that case. And I told her, go write your own musical dream tarot. Go ahead. I don't claim that it's the only one. I don't even claim that the music is mine.
Oh.
It has come from what the Hindu sage Patanjali described as the rain cloud of knowable things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have done is I have put the pieces together. So you can imagine with 78 cards to have music for and 778 dreams that some assembly was required.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that there was an equal number for each one. There was one piece that had only one original piece of music in it, and one piece that had 31 pieces of original music in it.
Ah.
And so it varied quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, as for people that are laymen out there who maybe don't know officially what tarot cards are, explain to us what the tarot art is and
Okay.
the tarot cards.
That's just a little bit complicated, but at least as I understand it, the tarot deck, as it is known today, was assembled in northern Italian cities in the 15th century. It has, in my opinion, two different origins. There are two different parts of the deck, what are called the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana, of which there are 22, my opinion is that they are very, very ancient. My doctoral dissertation was on the images of animals in the art of Mesopotamia, that is what is modern day Iraq, back 3,000 and 4,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those images show up in the tarot as well. For those who may be familiar with the tarot, the title of the dissertation gives it away. It's the lion, the eagle, the man, and the bull in Mesopotamian seal art or glyptic. And so those four images show up on two of the tarot cards as a set of images. They also are found in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, in the book of the Gospel of John, as a set of four, which carry the chariot of God in both cases. So these are very old images.
Yeah.
And these images were grafted onto a deck of playing cards called tarocchi, which means foolishness in Italian, back at that time. And so and that's 56 cards. So the modern playing deck has 52 cards plus the jokers. This deck had 56, and there was a time when these things were a little bit more variable, but I believe that it was in that time period of the 14th, 15th century that these two were welded together. And then subsequently, they began to be used not just for gambling, which was what the tarocchi had been, but also as seeds for meditation, also as use for divination, for telling, fortune telling. And by the 18th, 19th century, this had become standardized into the deck that we know today. And then since that time, especially in the last 50, 70 years, there's been a veritable explosion of different tarot decks and tarot-like decks. So there's hundreds of them out there nowadays. Some of them are very far away from the original conception. So we're talking about images that speak to the deep unconscious of every person, that go down into that unconscious and evoke archetypal forces. The music is designed to do this as well.
So, what got you into tarot? I mean, how did that work? And I noticed there's a book here that I think the PR agent at Ford this would confuse me in the bio. The Musical Dream Tarot.
Yes.
Do we want to plug this at all?
Sure. Here
Okay.
it is. For those of you who can see it, the Musical Dream Tarot is the description that I have written of the process by which I did this composition, along with descriptions of both the imagery and the music for each card.
Okay.
So that's what the book has. And it was written after the project, the musical project was completed.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was published last year. Yeah.
March 20th, 2024. The Musical Dream Tarot, for those who want to look it up, by Curtis Hoffman. And so that Does that end up being your story? Is that a memoir?
It is a memoir of that aspect of my development. Yes, it's not everything. It's not a complete memoir, but it's a memoir of that. And how, to answer your question, for a period of 7 years during my 20s, I studied with a spiritual teacher. And his methodology was very widespread, very eclectic, included pieces from many different traditions. But one of the things that we studied was the tarot, and in particular, the major arcana. And that was how I became familiar with it. And at the time, I kept a tarot diary. 50 years later, when I was coming to write the book, I rediscovered that diary, and I found it to be very, very useful in my descriptions of the cards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what are some examples of different things that you've had dreams about, or maybe tarot card readings about, or combined with dreams that influenced or affected your personal life?
Okay, I think this one through. The imagery, let's say, of the Fool, which is the first of the cards, key 0, has the Fool, who is an androgyne. That is, he is they, I guess we can use this word nowadays, are neither defined as masculine or feminine, or as both, dancing on the edge of a cliff with a little dog too behind. And they carry all of their memories in a pouch that is dangling from the head of their staff. This is a very brief description of the image. But the Fool is someone who is not afraid of the possibility of falling off the edge of the cliff. He's ready to take the plunge or to fly.
To fly.
Because this card represents the principle of the air element. And it is possible that their feet are not exactly on the ground if you look carefully at the image. So that was a kickoff. That was definitely a kickoff. Have the courage or foolishness, as the case may be, to step off the edge and see if maybe you can fly.
And there's a bit of maybe irony in that, where you might end up being a fool, or you might be the smartest guy in the room. Maybe, is that a good analogy?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to play around with this just a little bit, because one of the things that is at the basis of the major arcana is there are 22 of them. There are 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet to which they correspond. And there is a statement, I think it's in Psalms, that says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. But if you take the word that means there is not, and you rearrange the letters, it now says, the fool has said in his heart, I am God. So these kinds of things, they're sort of puns or transformations of words that can be very revealing. And so it sort of speaks to that cosmic unknown that both does and does not exist. And that's a little bit mind-blowing if you start to think about it.
And so pretty wild. So you wrote the book that talks about your efforts through, it seems I've lost track of it. Where do we put that? So you wrote the book that the Musical Dream Tarot, and it talks about your process of musical composition. And you basically just record your dreams. Like, I imagine you learn a lot maybe through your dreams, because you record them and put them down. And this is over a period of 19 months with correspondence to 78 keys of the tarot. And pretty interesting. And then you get into some other different things of the Kabbalah, which I think is a Jewish tome.
Yeah, Jewish mysticism. Yep.
Uh-huh. And
because that's the source of the 20, or a source of the 22.
Okay.
It may be even older than that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have, there's a book called the Sefer Yetzirah, or the Book of Foundations, which details the 22 paths. And they are part of what is referred to as the Tree of Life. As your readers certainly know, when Adam and Eve were in the garden, according to the biblical story, they ate of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of the pairs of opposites, good and evil, and they were banished lest they eat of the fruit of the tree of life and become as gods. That's what the text says.
Yeah.
And so there are two trees. There's the one that causes you to fall into manifestation, and the other one that allows you to climb out of manifestation.
Yeah.
So Kabbalah is concerned with the tree of life.
So definitely. Yeah. The so let's see, what else do we have here up on the deck with this? On what other musical compositions have you written, or are you now writing?
Yes. Well, the one that I started in 2010, the Gilgamesh Cantata, that is complete, and I've been trying to arrange for performances of it. We actually have performed 3 movements of it.
Well,
4 movements of the 8 at one time or another live. There is a limitation on what we can record for copyright reasons.
Yep.
So we can have performances, but not recordings.
Yep.
Since the end of the Tarot project in January of 2023, and the ending was very nicely marked by a dream. In this dream, someone comes up to me and he says, I've got some music for you to add into the tarot to give one of the pieces more pizzazz. That's what he actually said. And I want you to go to a Catholic church and get a blessing for it. So I said, okay. And I go into this church and it's empty except for the priest. And the priest is there with a chalice full of water that is overflowing. And he agrees to give a blessing to this bit of pizzazz, which consisted of exactly 4 16th notes to put at the beginning of a composition. Queen of Pentacles, if I remember correctly. All right, I put it in there, but because I know how to interpret dreams, because I've learned how to do this, I understood that what this was telling me is that anything more would be, wait for it, superfluous. Yeah, the cup was overflowing. It's superfluous. So that was how I knew the project was done. And they gave me, they being whoever it is that's giving me this stuff, gave me about a week and a half rest from that. And then new compositions started coming in. So these, the one of them, well, a couple of them are complete, but the one of them is called The Song of the Sea. It is for women's chorus with obligato trumpet and harp. There is an English country dance called The Brawl of the Donkeys. And then I'm working on an oboe concerto. And I have a number of other compositions that I have going all at the same time. It's not as complicated as the tarot was, because there are not 78, but only about 14. But unlike the tarot, for which I had a very, very concrete structure. And in fact, the matrix that I used, which, I mean, those guys in the Renaissance, they knew what they were doing. They created a structure which embodied music, color, sound, architecture, astrology, astronomy. All of these things were coordinated into a single matrix. And while we don't necessarily need to stick to the matrix in our understanding of the world since that time, nevertheless, it's a very robust system. And that's the system that I use. For example, when I got a piece that was in C major, and by the way, what I would do when I woke up from a dream, the first thing I would do would be to go out to the piano over here and noodle out the tune and find out, first of all, what note does it start on? And second of all, what key is it in? Because there are 12 keys in which it could be, 12 major, 12 minor. And each of those 12 goes with one or more of the tarot cards. So if it's in C major, I know that it is either associated with the fire element or with one of the cards, the 14 cards that are of wands, which is the fire element in the minor arcana, or of the 3 fire signs in the zodiac, which are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, or of key 20, judgment, which is also representing the fire element. So that narrowed it down. And then from there, I could figure out what went with that what a little bit more simply.
Then.
So it's a system. And I was directed to use this system by the dreams when I was doing the compositions and when I was putting it together. And all of that is detailed in the book.
And so how many people do tarot? How big is the tarot community these days?
Impossible to tell. It is very widespread. And as I said, there are hundreds of decks out there. Being used for a variety of purposes, some better than others. My friend Lauren uses it actually as a therapeutic device because she's a licensed psychologist. And she basically has people, first of all, choose a deck, then choose how many cards you want, all face down. How do you want them arranged? And what does the meaning of each position mean to you? And this is before you turn over a single card. And the results are amazing. You know, I've seen this at work. So this is one of the ways in which it can be used. My own feeling is that the purpose of the tarot ultimately is not fortune telling and certainly not gambling. But rather as seeds to draw forth images from the unconscious that can help us to shape our lives.
You know, and a lot of people have this perception that it's tarot card is for reading the future and stuff like that, right?
And there are instances in which that happens because the future is not necessarily a closed book. I know of many instances of people who have had dreams which have demonstrated the future sometimes in very significant ways. There was one fellow, Jeremy Taylor, who's a noted dream researcher, who collected dreams of 9/11.
Oh, really?
That had happened prior to the event. And there are tens of thousands of those.
Wow.
I had one. Okay. I had a dream in which I see a plane crashing into a building and I say, call 9/11.
Wow.
And so this was months before. So many people have had experiences like that. And while we have a tendency to dismiss them as mere coincidences, maybe not. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But what we do find, and this is again what people do in IASD, is to see how a dream might relate to particular issues or problems that a person is having, because they frequently will reflect that, even in terms of giving warnings about bodily conditions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so there are some folks who make a profession of using dreams for healing. Yeah. Now, in addition to all of that, there are some dreams which I am convinced are not for the individual, but are for the community, or they are ways of looking at the world which are different from our ordinary lives. We can dream, I think, into other people's lives in present or past, or maybe future. I call these other mind dreams. And sometimes the information that you get there can be confirmed by doing research. into that period of time when the dream is set, if you can tell what it was.
Yeah.
So that's, the world of dreaming opens us to so many different things. My own perspective on this, I mean, there are many theories about what dreaming is for or why we have them. And by the way, we do know that many animals dream. If you've ever seen a sleeping dog twitching its leg and mouthing, yeah, we know that this is the case. But there's something different about the way in which humans dream. And that is that we tell each other our dreams. I know of no other animal form that does that. The jury's still out on whales and dolphins. So I'll grant that possibility. But one thing that we do is that we tell each other our dreams. We represent our dreams either in visual imagery or possibly dance. When we look at the ancient cave paintings, let's say in France and Spain and elsewhere in the world, these may be dream images. Or at least the nature of, and by the way, I've done a workshop with a dream worker, Robert Bosnack, where we went to the caves in France. And we went there in the morning and did dream work in the afternoon and the evening. And eventually, the images from the caves started popping up in our dreams. Yeah, it takes a couple of days. There's something called dream lag where that happens. You have to get acclimatized to a different environment for a couple of days before the juicy stuff starts coming forward. But then it does. And so those images in the caves may have been deep images that came out of people's dreams.
Oh, wow. Coming out of people's dreams and stuff like that. That's pretty wild.
Yep.
How does your work on the musical dream tarot relate to your archaeological research that you do?
Jung at one point said that if he had it to do all over again, he would have been an archaeologist. Because in a certain sense, he was an archaeologist of the mind. He was conscious of this. He was delving deeper and deeper and deeper into layers of consciousness. When I was doing archaeological work, which, by the way, I no longer do excavation work for ethical reasons. I have a number of Native American friends and colleagues who consider that when archaeologists do this for their people's materials, it's theft.
Now you wrote a book about this, I think, or detailing.
Yeah, in a sense, I have.
Get a plug-in for that.
Sure, we will. Okay, this is my 2019 book, Stone Prayers, in which I explore Native American stone structures, which they are claiming are their sacred sites. So their idea is that if there has been an imbalance in the environment, you build a stone pile in order to rebalance it. And these things ought to be preserved and are not necessarily being taken sufficient account of. And so part of the purpose of the book is to convince my archaeological colleagues that this is the most likely explanation for most of these structures, and that therefore they should make an effort to see to it that they are preserved, as they are in some of the states in the Eastern Seaboard where I studied, and in some towns and counties and cities where it isn't a statewide preservation effort. So that's something that does link up. I refer to myself these days as a recovering archaeologist.
Recovering archaeologist.
Yeah. In other words, I no longer dig. I'll take a look at surface structures, but I no longer dig because of those ethical considerations.
Wow.
So there is a linkage. And I actually published an article in an online dream journal on dreams of the archaeological site. In some cases, precognitive dreams of what we were going to find. So
lots of people dreaming.
Yep. Yep.
So
if you were to calculate, because we know that people on average are going into REM sleep 5 times a night, and dreams happen not only in REM sleep, but let's use the REM sleep periods. If we calculate that times the number of people in the world, it means that there's probably something on the order of 300 million people dreaming right now, and every other time during our daily cycle, because some parts of the world are at night and some are at day. So dreaming is happening all the time. We don't remember most of our dreams. Most people remember only a few. I don't remember most of my dreams, but I remember a lot of them. You know, my wife had a career as a database programmer and wrote me a dream database program. And I'm going on 20,000 dreams as we speak.
Holy crap. That's
over 33
wild.
years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can check these out and do searches on them. And, you know, I mean, someone in the dream organization who's very much interested in Shakespeare the other day asked me, have you had any dreams about Shakespeare? Well, yeah, I got 25 of them. And, you know, I can search it and pull them right out and say, well, these are these, and these are just a bust of Shakespeare. In some case, I'm acting in a Shakespeare play. In some case, I'm attending a Shakespeare play. You know, this kind of thing becomes a source of information for other researchers.
Wow. So
Now,
go ahead. As we round up the show, give us your final pitch out. Tell people where they can pick up your goods and services. Tell them about the conference, et cetera, et cetera.
So the Musical Dream Tarot book is available on most online vendors, Barnes and Noble and so forth, Amazon. It is also available from the publisher, which is River Sanctuary Publishing. They're in California. And I have copies here. If anyone is local to here, I'd be happy to bring them and autograph them. I'll be giving a couple of talks on this over the next period of time. One on Friday in the town of Marion, Mass, at 1 o'clock at their senior center. One at our Ashland, Massachusetts Farmers Market on Saturday. And then the conference, the 1.5-day conference that we're having in September at Bridgewater State University, where I will be giving a 1-hour presentation on how to retrieve music from dreams using not only the Musical Dream Tarot, but also the Gilgamesh Cantata and some of the more recent pieces as examples. You can also find all of the music for the Musical Dream Tarot and also for the Gilgamesh Cantata on my website, which is www.musicaldreamtarot.com. That is all one word. And as you know, the information on the conference is available through the International Association for Dreams website, asdreams.org/regionals. And that will bring you to our regional conferences, of which the one in September is one of the ones that is featured there.
Well, it should be a lot of fun and very interesting. People can get to know tarot and their dreams more and understand them more. They can pick up your book, The Stone Prayers, Native American Stone Constructions of the Eastern Seaboard, and your other book, The Musical Dream Tarot, and find it on the website. Thank you very much, Chris, for coming by. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thanks, friends, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Share the show with your family, friends, and relatives. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have us out. Curtis.